welcome to the German Climate Pavilion at COP30 in Billy.
And with that, welcome to all of you here joining us live in beautiful Berlin. Excellencies, thank you so much for joining this high-level event, but also, ladies and gentlemen, joining us in our live stream from wherever and which time zone you're joining us. A warm welcome, a literally really warm welcome goes out to you from Berlin. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, as we all know, of course, climate finance and mobilizing private capital, these are the dominant topics here, among the dominant topics here at COP30 and beyond. And of course, our event now will look deeper into how scarce public funding could be used in an efficient way. And of course, we'd like to dive in on what requirements are needed to be met to mobilize private investment in order to help countries moving from ambition to implementation of their climate goals. And with that, to all of you once again, to this IKI annual high-level event, a warm welcome. And this is your possibility, of course, to get a little bit heated up and to applause as well, in order to get ready for our guests as well. And it's my big honor for the opening remarks. I welcome now on stage the German Minister for the Environment, Climate Action, Nature Conservation and Nuclear Safety, Carsten Schneider.
Ja, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Guten Abend, willkommen hier im Deutschen Pavillon. Dear Minister Bárcena, dear Alicia, warm welcome. It's an honor for us that the Mexican Minister for Environment is here. She's one of my preferred and loved colleagues. Thanks a lot that you are here. Mr. Kahn, the Deutsche Bank, and Thierry, she's not here. Okay, she will arrive. But there are some members of the German Parliament here too. I welcome them, former ones and ones that are still there. They are important because they are the ones who do the laws. And we want to launch this IKI event investment processes and programs, and they are the ones who decide about it. So that's very important to have them here. Welcome to my colleagues. This is my first climate change conference, and I'm truly impressed. It is inspiring to see the many competent and dedicated people who have come here from all over the world. I'm impressed by Belém and its natural riches. At the same time, I'm constantly reminded of how fragile nature is and how the impacts of climate change are making themselves felt. The location of Belém highlights why we are here and why climate action is not just a nice to have, but a major task for our future with equally major opportunities. 30 years after the first climate change conference and 10 years after Paris, the COP remains a celebration of multilateralism. The international community has accomplished much over the years. The quality of the NDCs has greatly improved. In nearly every country, climate policy has become an integral part of economic policy. Implementation plans and, above all, investment plans have drawn up. Could you understand me? Yeah, good, okay. The NDCs have long been about more than mitigation alone. They now also address key aspects such as social participation, adaptation, and ecosystem conservation. We can be proud of this joint progress. Without the climate change conferences, the world would be heading towards a much higher temperature rise. But in all honesty, we are still not doing enough. The updated NDCs are still not ambitious enough to keep the 1.5 degree limit at least within reach. Implementation is still lagging behind expectations. The funding gap and access to public and private climate finance remain major challenges. On top of that, we have a difficult political environment. In many countries, climate action is suspected of slowing down economic development. In fact, the opposite is true. The opposite is true. In the 21st century, climate action is essential for economic success and a competitive industry. In the first half of 2025, renewable energies overtook coal-fired power generation for the first time in the world. This is because renewables are becoming cheaper, they are clean and they reduce dependence on energy imports. Sales of electric cars are rocketing. We spoke about Alicia. And Mexico is a good example for that. You are doing an excellent job. And they are rocketing because batteries are becoming more efficient and less expensive. Environmental and climate technologies are in global demand. That is the area where innovations are happening and where value is being created for today and the future. To achieve this, climate policy must establish a reliable framework for companies, investors, and society. Of course, we also pursue climate action out of a sense of responsibility for our foundations of life. Of course, a healthy environment is essential for good, secure lives and for all economic activity. That is why it is imperative that we tackle climate change and the destruction of nature together. In a world with growing geopolitical, sorry, I'm syringing in German. It's difficult sometimes with the TH for us, but I do my very best. In a world with growing geopolitical tensions, international cooperation on climate change is more necessary than ever. Working together creates trust between North and South, governments and international organizations, public and private sectors. Germany remains a reliable partner for global cooperation on climate. It is in our own interest that other countries meet their climate targets. A key pillar of this work is our international climate initiative, IKI, as you can see it there. Through the IKI, my ministry supports projects on climate action and biodiversity conservation. One such project supports Egypt's transition from fossil-fueled power plants to renewable energy. Another focuses on conserving mangrove forests in Indonesia. Other projects assist small and medium-sized enterprises that want to lower their energy consumption, including in the state of Sao Paulo here in Brazil. The IKI has already given rise to a number of success stories. Please take a look at all the wonderful photos around the room here. These are the winning pictures of the 2025 IKI photo contest. They will give you a clear idea of the work in our partner countries. We look forward to seeing what the next funding period will bring, and we will show it. I'm pleased to announce the launch of a new IKI large grant call funded with up to 220 million euros. We are looking for innovative, effective project ideas in the areas of mitigation, adaptation, forest conservation and biodiversity. South Africa, Mexico and India are important countries for climate action. They are represented in the new call with country-specific priorities. Electricity storage systems in Mexico, forest conservation in India, and protection of grass landscapes in South Africa. I'm delighted, once again, Alicia, that you are here. And we will shortly be talking more about the challenges and opportunities in our countries. And you know I love your country. Today we are also launching the new call for the IKI Medium Grants. This instrument supports projects with up to 800,000 euros. It is primarily aimed at German NGOs working with local partners. This year we are focusing on projects that promote circular economy and ecosystem-based adaptation. We are especially proud of our IKI Small Grants program, the third one, which targets projects being implemented with and for local communities. Examples are solar-powered irrigation systems for small farmers in Kenya and climate education in schools in the Brazilian Amazon region. These projects help raise people's awareness of benefits of climate action. Concrete, tangible improvements are the key to acceptance and hence especially important. With these 3 new calls, we are showing our partner countries that they can rely on Germany. It is also clear that public funding alone will not be enough. For that reason, IKI finance is specifically used to mobilize private investments. And now you know, Mr. Kahn, I'm pleased that Ms. Gabi, is she now here? No, she's not here. Okay, maybe she'll find. But we welcome Mr. Kahn from the Deutsche Bank here, that you are here with us today. You know exactly what the markets need, and in my opinion, 3 aspects. And I was used to work in a bank before, not in your position, but in a bank. 3 aspects are particularly important. Firstly, investments only flow if the political framework is clear and consistent. Unless we have the courage to shape that framework, we will not convince investors or mobilize investment. Secondly, we must develop mechanisms that bring together public and private capital. One possible instrument are guarantees. With the IKI, we are planning to support the Green Guarantee Company with at least 25 million euros. For instance, we will establish needs-based green guarantees for bonds and credits to offer private investors, companies, and financiers. Thirdly, climate projects must pass the bankers' strict due diligence review. You know that. At the moment, this is still a bottleneck. That is why we want to strengthen project development. We are concentrating on private project developers that know the markets and concerns of investors better than we do as donors. Through the IKI and the Mitigation Action Facility, we plan to make around 40 million euros available to further develop and scale up the Seed Capital Assistance Facility, short SCAF. Alicia, dear ladies and gentlemen, for 17 years now, the IKI has served as a global tool to turn opportunities into solutions. The IKI shows how we can shape the future with climate action and strengthen cooperation with partners around the world. I look forward to the presentations on the 3 competitions and to our discussions. Thank you very much, and how the people welcome. I ended the speech. You are perfectly on time. And as the people here in Belém said, Viva Amazonia.
Thank you, dear Minister. And with that, we continue our program. And as we are now all complete with our panel, I would love to start with a family photo before we are also tightly scheduled today. And this means, of course, that I warmly welcome all my panelists in a second to join us here for a photo. And the photographer, you can already get into the right position. So please, Carsten Schneider, Alicia Bárcena, Kamran Khan, and Terry Badegeshin, thank you for being here. And then, of course, please position yourself here for a family photo. Do not fall over the cables, please. Okay, and for everybody else involved, this is, of course, your photo opportunity. For our beautiful IKI high-level event. Once again, welcome to everybody. So who's the lead camera? Here we go. Oh, we have several lead cameras. Okay, good. I do see a lot of hands. So one more smile, and I count down from 3, 2, 1, and I think we have it, right? Okay. Wonderful. So please stay with me here on stage, and then we continue our conversation. Yes, Her Excellency, please join me here. Wonderful. Once again, welcome to our IKI high-level conversation here on stage. I'd like to give you, ladies and gentlemen, a quick introduction. Of course, Carsten Schneider, we met him already. And next to me, I welcome you, Your Excellency, the Minister of the Ministry for the Environment and Natural Resources in Mexico, Her Excellency Alicia Bárcena. Thank you for being here. Obrigada. And then we have Kamran Khan with us. He's the Managing Director and the Head of the Sustainable Finance for Asia Pacific, the Middle East and Africa at Deutsche Bank in Singapore. Thank you so much for making time. And last but not least, we have Terry Badigashin. You're the, I hope I got the last name perfect, okay. You're the CEO of the Climate Investment Fund, the world's leading multilateral climate investment fund, which helps, of course, developing countries in that transition phase to climate-friendly and resilient infrastructure. So once again, a big round of applause to our panelists before we start into our conversation. I'm looking to you because tomorrow is a very big day for Mexico, I would assume. Mexico is officially announcing its new NDC at COP30 on November 18th, which is tomorrow. And you're adopting an absolute emission reduction goal for all greenhouse gases in all sectors by 2035. And you know, following along this whole process, it was a very participatory process, emphasizing a human-centered narrative and prioritizing an inclusive and a just energy transition. But I'd like to hear from you, of course, what role will then the energy transition play for the, in the end, effective implementation of the NDC of Mexico?
Hello? Yes. Thank you so much and good afternoon, Excellencies. My dear friend, Carsten Schneider, thank you for this invitation, which I value very much. And I'm here because for us, IKI has been very, very important. IKI, the climate initiative, has been extremely important. It was through this initiative that we were able to prepare the NDC 3.0, that of course will be presented tomorrow, but it's already in the webpage of the Secretariat of the UNFCCC, so you can see it there. And we were very ambitious in our NDC 3.0, but the most important thing is that the International Climate Initiative was essential in the preparation of this NDC 3. And I want to thank you for that, because we were able to, through this initiative, to be able to fund the process. And as you very well said, it was a very participatory process. We had the participation of almost 38 federal institutions, and we had local authorities, civil society, academia. We went across the board to prepare this NDC 3.0. It was very difficult because, as you know, times are difficult to try to reconcile growth with climate change. It has not been easy. But we were able to produce an NDC 3.0, and that's why I have a couple of notes here, to show you that coming from a baseline scenario, we commit to limiting our net emissions to a level between 364 and 404 million tons of carbon equivalent, unconditionally. And of course, conditionally, 332 and between 332 and 362 million tons conditionally. This is a great advance. What does it mean? It means that we are going to be able to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions 50% from the trend, so we can get to the net zero by 2050. That's the whole purpose of this. In the NDC2, we wanted to reduce 35% of our greenhouse emissions. We haven't got there yet, but we are committed to reduce them 50% by 2035. And I think this is really important. But the most interesting thing where International Climate Initiative helped us is that you helped us to hire a group of consultants that went to each sector of the economy. This is not going to be done by the Ministry of Environment, never. It's going to be done through the Minister of Energy, through the Minister of Transport, through the Ministry of Public Works. So with the International Climate Initiative, we were able to place people in each of these sectors and identify what is the percentage of emissions that each of these sectors is producing. For example, the transport sector is 23%, and we know that. And we have been able, through this International Climate Initiative, to put forward concrete actions that the public, like the transport sector, has to do to reduce their emissions. For example, in gas and electricity, they represent 18%. And that's where I think IKI initiative is so important, because now with these consultants and with these people that were in these sectors, we were able to plan with them what are the actions that they have to do. Because it's about what everybody's going to do to reduce these greenhouse emissions. And the other thing we were able to do is to identify whenever these sectors are not going to be able to reduce them because technology is not there, because there's a lack of innovation or financing, then we are looking for compensation. What are the actions that they need to do to compensate? For example, mangroves, or for example, solutions based in nature. But we have to be able to build a very good taxonomy to understand what are the compensation that has to be there. So the other thing we have in this new NDC is a very powerful adaptation component. An adaptation because it includes loss and damages, which is very important. And we included one element that I think is crucial for developing countries. We are linking climate change with security, with national security, because we are having, for example, natural disasters that are becoming really issues of national security. So we have convinced already the Navy, the Defense Ministry, everybody that has to participate in this endeavor. So I want to really thank you so much, because with this project, aligning climate change with long-term goals has been able to help us enormously. But the other thing is that we are very interested in going forward with your initiative you just announced. And one of the things that you also mentioned is strengthening electricity storage for renewable energy. Because this is the problem. We can have renewable energy, but the problem we are facing in Mexico is how to strengthen electricity storage and how can we integrate and make sure that it can be used for end uses. So this technology or this endeavor for us is extremely important. We are now in Mexico at a rate of 27% of renewable energy. We have to get to 38% in 2030 and 45% in 2035. And that means that we need this urgently to know how to store electricity that derives from renewable energy. And I'm ending here by saying that thank you to you, International Climate Initiative. Thank you, Minister. It has been for me a pleasure meeting you. Since we met in G7 in Canada, I think we made a great connection, and I'm sure that we will be able to move together to promote the International Climate Initiative. But I have to tell you, everybody, the parliamentarians of Germany that are here, everybody who is here, IKI is working in Mexico. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And one thing that you mentioned, the coordination and implementation across